So today we're going to talk about my opinion on coding boot camps. So I did a boot camp. Here's my opinion on it. So to start out, my reason for doing the boot camp, I was just kind of floating through life looking for a career, knowing I enjoyed programming. I'd had past experience with doing VEX robotics and other things. So I knew what it entailed and that I would like it. I talked to some people I knew. They pointed me in the direction of a specific boot camp. I looked into the pros and cons of the boot camp and then into the job market to get my an understanding for what I can expect after graduating. It looked promising at the time, like there was a lot of positions available after graduating this boot camp. I did a full stack web development boot camp. So there was plenty. Python and JavaScript were the two languages that we learned. So the process of qualifying for the boot camp, you had to complete a few projects and take a test to qualify to do the boot camp. Looking back at it now, it was way too simple for what the program entailed. Program was very rigorous, to say the least. They made sure you got good instruction though. So I will give them that. I also struggled with the qualification projects and the test quite a bit. I just had a hard time wrapping my head around it at the time. Beginning, so we'll get into the class now, class specifically. So I qualified. I set my time when I wanted to start. I set when I wanted to graduate, stuff like that, whatnot. So getting into the class. Beginning of the class was straightforward, just learning how to code, then transitioning into frameworks using JavaScript, and then finishing a project, or going from start to finish with a project to implement what we learned. That was pretty much the process of the class for every unit. It was just learning a framework or something new or a different way to code, and then doing a project using what we learned and so forth. Our instructor specifically would have daily questions. They were just leak code questions, like easies and mediums. They're pretty straightforward. The program that we used to test the questions, though, sucked. I forget what we used, but it was not good. But doing a question every day was very beneficial to me because it was a chance to test my knowledge every day. So I do recommend, if your boot camp is not doing that, go on to LeetCode or something. Pick a question, easy to start out with, and slowly work your way up. You'll benefit greatly from it. So after going through the boot camp, there's a few things that I took away from the class. The things that I took away from the class were the skills to code and understanding how to read code. Now, reading code will be one of the things that helps benefit you in learning to code, because you're going to have to read a lot of different people's code if you ever get a job in the industry. We'll get into my experience with the industry later, but you're going to have to read different styles, different ways. Most likely, your company that you end up working with will have a standardized format, for ways to write variables or how to space code or what to include, but You should learn to read code over everything else. It definitely benefits you in the long run. Knowing how to build websites from scratch using different frameworks like React, MongoDB for a database. Um, what is the Python? Uh, what is the Python framework for building a website? It's not Mongo. It's Django. I think it's Django. I learned that and a few other things. Now, um, in learning those languages, though, and learning to build my own skill sets on top of what they taught us, I was able to translate that to building my video games. I built a few at this point. This is my most polished one. Even then, it took forever. Lots of back and forth, lots of little mistakes that I had to fix. Um, and this isn't even the one that I want to, like, is my end goal game. This is just a entry into building video games that I wanted to do. So, in knowing that now, I also did a little bit of automation tasks for work when my first job out of the boot camp, which helped a little bit, but it was in a different language, so I had to learn that language and then come back and try and build on the programs I was trying to write over time. So my most valuable takeaways from the class is the problem solving in coding specifically, and then the ability to read code and understand how to write it, which I think are kind of intertwined. Because if I didn't have that, I would never be able to achieve what I've achieved so far. And also how to read documentation, how to understand what code does what, things like that. That's invaluable. You're going to use that anywhere you go. So that was just my schooling. Now, if you're going to do a boot camp, if you have the money and you have the time, or you have a job that will pay you to do it, I say go for it. Otherwise, I'd really look at jobs in your area to see if what this boot camp offers it will be beneficial for you in the specific job market that you're in. If you're going to move, look there and see if that's beneficial for that job market. Uh, so I'll get into my personal experience with looking for a job. I followed the school's process of writing a resume and how to structure it, critiqued by the instructor that taught us how to write a resume and look for jobs and whatnot. Said that my resume wasn't the best resume they've seen, but it was passable. So I took that as it should be good enough to at least get my foot in the door. I was wrong. Come to find out with AI and application scrubbers and things like that, it's very difficult finding a job right now. So be it. It always is. That's never going to change. I applied to over 3,000 jobs over the next few months between when I graduated to when I got the first offer that wasn't even related to software. So I'd basically lost hope in between those two times. I was just blindly applying to anything. So that's when I decided to go on YouTube one day. I saw Bracky's tutorial for Godot. I'd watched his tutorial for Unity before. I tried when I first tried to learn how to code. So I was like, we'll give it a shot. I've been watching a few Godot things, and it was awesome. It's where I got all the art and the initial movement, and I think I have a song on my game too that came from that. But it's what got me started down this path. Is it going to go anywhere for work or anything? I don't know. But I'm enjoying it. It's giving me something to work towards every day. So then I basically quit applying for a little while, or I was doing it here and there. And I talked to a few people at that point, and nothing led to anything for me at the moment. So putting the time into another coding project let me look at my experience of applying more objectively. Also, having talked to those people in the industry, I realized my skills were all over the place for the job specifically. And I would need to find a job that would work towards building my skills, or at least refine my resume for that job. So, what I mean by that is I need to build skills for the for the specific job that I want, because these resume scrubbers are looking for specifics that fit. You know, if you have 5 out of 10, they're not gonna even look at you for a possible position, most likely, or at least that's been my experience. Could be different for you, but you pretty much have to hit all 10 in order to get looked at or make it past the AI to get reviewed by a person. Now, in looking at that, I realized my resume was not good for the landscape of applying for jobs right now. So I've been, over the past few months, slowly building a little bit of a database of jobs in the area and what they expect you to have. A lot of them expect you to have, different skill sets, different frameworks, and different things. For my area, a lot of it is oil and gas and website development. And the website development is mostly React, or app development is mostly React. So I need to build my skills in React. So I'm heading back into the job search with a more objective view of my resume and my skills, so that I'm not just blindly applying to job after job after job. I need to have some way to quantify, how well my resume is doing. If my resume is not doing well, I need to go back, review what I need to, and then reapply. Sometimes reapply to the same position, sometimes others. But that's going to be my back and forth now, is maybe 5 to 10 applications a week, apply, look at each one, adjust my resume or my cover letter or, whatnot, and just keep back and forth with that. Maybe something will come up. I don't know. Well, in saying that, would I take a class again if given what I know now back then? Maybe. Has it directly corresponded to success for me? Maybe. It's hard to quantify that. Um, has it led to a job yet? I've yet to find out. But I am enjoying the fruits of my labor in building my skills with my video game and other aspects of my coding. So this is just my experience. Take that for what you will. Um, feel free to leave your experience down in the comments if you want, so other people can look at it. I recommend just staying positive though, so we can keep this a positive place for people to work through what they're working through. All right. Thank you, everyone. Please leave a comment whether you like this or not. Give the video a like and share it with your friends if you think it's good enough for that. All right. Bye.